Thank you. Um, I'm not going to read from my speech. I will just speak generally from my experience as a journalist. One thing I know basically is that no matter how beautiful the economic ideas are, no matter how beautiful the vision of any country, of any leader, once there is no stability, there is no way you can achieve your dream. One of the major problems facing Nigeria now is stability, not just arising from poverty or economic exclusion and political exclusion, but conscious efforts by people that have taken up arms to challenge the legitimacy of the state. And we are talking about extremist groups, like Boko Haram. And Boko Haram has three factions. One is led by Khalid al-Barawi. Another one is led by Maman Noor. And then the third one is led by Shekaru. And apart from that, we also have other breakaway factions, like Daru Islam, that was recently declared a terrorist organization by the Nigerian military. And then we have Ansaru Islam. So I think for the first time since independence, Nigeria is confronted with terrorism on a very large scale. Nigeria recently, by the Global Terrorist Index, was grouped alongside Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. And we all know that countries that are bedeviled by terrorism, it's always very difficult for them to get out of it. So I would like to say that this is one of the, if not the most important problem that is facing Nigeria. The danger also is that the people that are involved in terrorism are also spreading towards areas where the key actors are not indigenous. The Southwest, the Southeast. We have seen pockets of activities that could link up to terrorist organizations that are based in the Northwest. Now, I think basically, from our own findings, we realize that there are some factors that we can trace. We can say that are the causes of the kind of terrorism that we're having across the country. There is a problem of ethnic conflict, conflict arising from ethnic identity, clash of civilizations. If you look at the history of Nigeria, people from different ethnic groups, were asked to come together in 1914 without consultation and constructive engagement with the people that were involved. The Kanuri people, for instance, have history of a dynasty dating back to about 700 years. They migrated from Yemen and been brought together to live in Nigeria since 1914 without consultation and discussion with their leaders. I think we should not expect that everything will be all right. Then there is a growing distrust for public institutions. People don't have trust in security organizations, and they are tempted to take laws into their hands by resorting to violence. When the police is not there to help you, the lawmakers are not there to help you. People are tempted to take laws into their own hands. Then there's a problem of youth unemployment, which has aggravated the problem of terrorism. They are lured into violent activities because they can be compensated by terrorist organizations. And then we have the problem of illicit weapons. There are a lot of weapons in the hands of non-state actors. The former Interior Minister said there are 350 million illicit weapons in circulation in West Africa. 70% of these weapons are in Nigeria. So I think that makes it very, very complex for us. It makes the problem a very major challenge for us. There are also the problem of the crisis in the Maghreb region, which is made up of Libya, Algeria, Mauritania, Tunisia, and Morocco, where terrorist organizations have strong hold. We realize that because this place is very close to northeast Nigeria, they form a kind of armed belt where they supply arms and ammunition, to terrorist organizations in the northeast. And for the fact that most of these countries collapsed, like Libya, and also some of them are unstable, like Mali. After the collapse of Libya, people have access to a lot of arms. Most of those soldiers in Libya began to sell arms to Nigerians, either to fight as mercenaries or to sell arms to them. So there is easy access to illicit weapons by terrorist organizations. And we also have the problem of migration, economic migration from the Maghreb region. A lot of people, because of the crisis there, they are all migrating to Nigeria and they need to survive. And perhaps the easiest way for many of them to survive is to either join terrorist organizations or either to work as members or to work as mercenaries for them and earn a living by fighting on the side of terrorist organizations. So we have a situation where how do we resolve this problem? You know, I'm talking about the roadmap to peace. I think people in diaspora should realize that they have a lot of role to play in this aspect. If you look at the founding fathers of Nigeria, Zik, Awu, they were all in diaspora until they came down to Nigeria to help fight the battle. So our people in diaspora should see this problem as something that they need to design a kind of strategic intervention, you know, to collaborate with people that are working at the local front here so that we can find a permanent solution to the problem. I think these problems will become more aggravated for so many reasons. The first one is that the Nigerian army has very poor human rights records. People are arrested arbitrarily to the extent that communities that host this terrorist organization don't have trust in the Nigerian army. Most of them decide to join my terrorist organizations because they are seeking for revenge. Maybe their relations have been arrested or brutalized by the army. So there's no trust in the communities that where these terrorist organizations, where they operate, they don't have trust in security organizations. And then Boko Haram also recruits from victims of state-sponsored rights abuses, violence. When the state attack community because there are terrorist actions, they more than the community, they destroy the community. So the people that live in these communities, most of the time, they join terrorist organizations to seek revenge. So the Nigerian army, in order to deal with terrorist organizations, needs to improve its human rights records. The Nigerian army and the Nigerian state also places emphasis on military solutions without providing economic roadmap. You cannot defeat terrorism only by military action. There is the need for an economic roadmap to design a system where we can address poverty, we can address economic exclusion. And then the Nigerian government also needs to design a program that they can confront extremism in the realm of ideas because they are prepared by a particular ideology. So the Islamic institutions, the mosque, they have a very important role to play in terms of trying to de-radicalize extremist organizations. And then I think there is a need for constructive of these French-speaking West African countries. If you look at the map of Nigeria, we are surrounded by, you know, likely French-speaking African countries. And most of the time when they operate in Nigeria, they run back to either Chad, to Mali or Cameroon. So Nigeria should engage, you know, the French-speaking countries to ensure that they work out a kind of sub-regional response, a West African regional response to the conflict. Then there's a need to block the sources of arms and sources of funds for the terrorist organizations. And then the Nigerian army needs to purge itself of collaborators within itself, because we have seen that most of the time when Boko Haram is to be attacked, they get the information ahead. And it makes it very difficult for them to evade the people that are coming to attack them. And I also think we need to ensure that our people in diaspora join the clamor for restructuring of the country so that we can have state community policing. The IG, the Inspector General of Police, is talking now about having police in communities. What they are doing is having federal police in local communities. That is not community policing because they are still responding to the IG. They are still tied to the upspring of the Inspector General of Police. So the structure still remains a kind of a garrison structure. And we think that the best way to do with security is to decentralize the security architecture so that people can own the process. They can own, you know, the process, and they can be involved in terms of intelligence gathering and in terms of working out local strategies peculiar to particular areas in dealing with security problems in these areas. I also think the problem of political self-determination is a major problem that we need to address. Lastly, I would like to say that our people are professionals in diaspora. You have a very important role to play in terms of linking up with international organizations, with regional organizations, European Union, and many other relevant organizations like the United Nations. You have a very important role to play in this aspect. And I hope in the next few years, you can design the kind of roadmap, you know, a working program that you can, to work out a program where you can be very relevant in this campaign. It should not be left for people at home alone. You have a very important role to play. And I hope Fatherland will be able to take this lead in the few months ahead. Thank you very much.